For the first time in 12 years, Michigan State goes into Mackey, wins 76-74 in a great game. And obviously, to talk about this game, I had to bring on a really great friend of mine. I know he's feeling probably a little bit more down today as a Purdue fan. But how are you doing, Ted? How are you feeling about this game? What were your thoughts?
We're hanging in there. This was a disappointing loss from the Purdue perspective here.
Yeah.
As I thought we played well and got beat. No two ways
Yeah.
around it. That doesn't happen a lot. So something I'm not used to, something that, is a little tough pill to swallow, if you will.
Yeah. No, and winning at Mackey isn't something that Michigan State fans aren't really familiar with either. Like it's been 12 years since that truly has happened. But I don't know about you, but I think this might have been one of the best, if not the best, Big Ten game this year. Maybe that's a little bit of recency bias. But if you're talking about two teams that played incredibly well for the most part, I think that's exactly what happened in this one.
Yeah, I think both teams played to their potential. I think they both have potential to go on deep runs in March, and I think that they both brought it this game. And it was
Yeah.
you gotta love Izzo and Painter, and they're going at it, and they had a heck of a game as it always is.
Yeah, I was just gonna say two legends going at it, two coaches that believe in a lot of the same type of stuff as well. You talk about kind of how both of these rosters have been built. There's been a little bit of a transfer portal use, but it's been a little bit more of like development type of stuff, which is something that obviously you don't see in college basketball very much. And then obviously you have Izzo having a ton of respect for Purdue because he had breakfast with Gene Katie prior to the game happening as well, which I think is really cool. So you obviously had two coaches that are very well respected that like each other a lot, but you also had two point guards that I think a lot of the discussion going into this game was going to be Jeremy Fears versus Braden Smith. What were your thoughts on kind of that matchup, those two guys, how they performed well? Braden Smith, great game, got over 1,000 assists in this game in his career, which is an awesome accomplishment. And then Jeremy Fears, I thought was pretty good as well.
I think it was pretty obvious from watching, just eye test wise, that Jeremy Fears is the better defender. I
Yeah,
think,
agreed.
he can get in your shorts a little bit better. He's got the stuff, but he didn't get a steal.
Yeah,
So it was kind of like one of those things where he affected it every single play and it didn't show up on the stat sheet. Um, and then on the flip side, I think Braden, I don't think it, I mean, the stats, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, it's a pretty good game.
yeah,
But from watching it, I thought he had kind of a little bit of an off night. I mean, I felt like he overpassed quite a little bit. I feel like he could have hunted for his shot a little bit more. Certainly, it felt like he was trying to get some assists that he maybe didn't need to try to get, which is interesting
agreed.
given, a tight game and, you know, Mackey and having Michigan State there. And, so I feel like he could have gone for, 20 if he wanted to. But
Yeah.
it seemed like he wanted to pass a little bit more, and that was a decision.
Yeah, no, I truly do agree. I think there's several points in the game where he should have just put up a shot like really close and he decided to pass it. Obviously, I thought Braden was still really good overall. I do agree that Jeremy Fears is the better defender. I do think that had a little bit to do with just maybe a little, I don't want to say hesitancy. I don't know if hesitancy is the right word, but deal with a little bit more of like not necessarily hunting his shot, which obviously Braden Smith, the reason why he's been so successful is offensively, he's really good, right? Like he can hit shots, he can hit mid range, can hit threes, but also he's an elite passer. And we saw that in this game 10 assists in this game. There's a reason why Braden Smith is really, really good. And I truly thought that this point guard matchup was really good. And you mentioned how it was a little bit of like statistically a little bit of kind of a down game. I think you can kind of say pretty similar stuff with Jeremy Fears as well. 12 points, only assists assists in this game. I thought he was good. I thought he was really good at like moving the pace, like running what Michigan State wanted to do. But like there was points here and there where I'm like these are the two best point guards in the country, and then there's other points where I'm like, you guys need to be a little bit more involved here.
Yeah, it seems like neither one of them took over the game until late when Jeremy Fears seemed to
Yeah,
be able to get whatever he wanted offensively.
yeah,
But I'm wondering if that's a Jeremy Fears thing or if that's a Purdue defense thing because I thought the
yeah.
biggest takeaway from this game that was that Purdue's defense couldn't get a stop, and was lucky to
Agreed.
get a stop and even be in the game at the end of the game. So yeah, I thought both point guards were underwhelming, but both teams were playing extremely well. But that's what good point guards do on great teams.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously they're both playing well, but yeah, that was my takeaway there.
Yeah, no, and I think you're really accurate about kind of the specific moment where Jeremy Fears started taking over. You could see kind of Michigan State getting the momentum up six, up eight, I believe is the most Michigan State was, maybe 9 points. But then you saw Braden Smith kind of gain that momentum back, and it was a 2 point game with about like 2 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. And at that point, I think every Michigan State fan is just saying, oh no, not again. Like this is like a house of horrors for Michigan State. But obviously, a guy like Jackson Kohler made a huge bucket towards the end of the game. Last bucket for Michigan State defensively. I thought Michigan State was really good in this game. Let's also talk about the big men, though, because I think this was kind of a matchup going into it that a lot of people probably thought Trey Kaufman-Renn was going to kind of be the main scorer for Purdue when it comes to the big men against Carson Cooper. And I thought Trey Kaufman-Renn had a solid game. Clough had a good game. Only had 10 points in the first half, didn't have any in the second half. I think Michigan State did a really good job adjusting to what he did. But what were your thoughts on like Kaufman-Renn versus Carson Cooper? Because I thought I thought this is the best game of his career.
Yeah, Cooper put on a clinic. I believe it was him that just put the hammer on Jacobson halfway through the game. In that sequence, there's a
Yeah,
sequence where I think Carr had a dunk, Jacobson had a dunk, and then Cooper had a dunk like back to back
yeah.
to back. And I was
That
like,
that might
man,
be
I
the
didn't.
best sequence I've ever had. I've ever
Yeah,
seen in a game. Like
I
legitimate. It
didn't.
was like three posters back to back to back, and I'm like, what is going on? That might have been the
That
greatest sequence I've ever
was pretty
seen in a
sweet.
basketball game.
Yeah, I had to rewind that one a couple times, but
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't know Cooper was like that, and
I didn't know
I
either.
maybe that was from me not watching Cooper enough. But I mean, I've seen a good amount of Michigan State this year, and I haven't seen a game like that out of him. So,
Yeah,
um, interesting enough though, he was still -2 plus minus, and I felt like he
which is
was the
crazy.
deciding factor in that game. Like he was the big like, okay, I didn't expect that, and Michigan State got a good game out of him, but he was still
Yeah,
-2. So I don't know what that means or not, but just a tidbit.
yeah.
Um, no, but the biggest thing I noticed in this game, Purdue, 12 of 25 from the 3-point land, 48%. The last time, yeah, I'm gonna let you guess here. The last time Purdue shot 48% from three in a loss.
That I would guess probably. Has it been like, is it like, are we talking years? Like, are we talking like 10, 15 years? Like some absurd, like, set?
We're talking November 9th of 2019 when we
Okay, seven
lost to
years.
Texas at home 70 to 66. And this is
Crazy.
why this is such a disappointing game for me as a Purdue fan was we shot the ball well. We
Yeah,
put the ball in the hoop. We didn't really have that many turnovers and we still lost. Like we got beat and we played
yeah,
well. So a lot of times like the Michigan game, the excuse was, well, Michigan shot 60% from three and we couldn't hit one. And that's like every loss that we have. We can always sit, not this one. So I thought it was a pretty remarkable game for Michigan State to survive. 12 threes on 25 attempts from Purdue.
yeah. I was just gonna say, if you look at statistically, a win for Michigan State doesn't necessarily make sense at all, because the one thing going into this game that I think if you're Michigan State that you kind of knew or couldn't really rely on was not only going to be defense. I think Michigan State has a little bit better defense than Purdue overall when you look at statistics, but like rebounding, right? When Purdue has gone up against some really physical teams, like you talk about Michigan, you talk about Illinois, Purdue's been out rebounded in those games, and Michigan State was actually two less rebounds than Purdue. If you would tell
Yeah,
me Purdue had 27 to 25 rebounds, if Purdue shot 40 plus percent from three, I
and
I
only
don't think
committed
MSU
nine
would win.
turnovers. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
think
yeah,
MSU would lose by double digits, and they didn't.
the
They
one,
won.
the one box score thing that was a little interesting for me. You're 12 of 25 for three. Purdue was 28 of 57 from two.
Yeah,
So that's
two was huge in
49%.
this game.
Yeah, two was
Two,
huge. And yeah, so there were a couple post touches for TKR that I was like, "Oh wow, he should hit those." But then there were a lot of wide open threes that I thought Michigan State should have made too. I mean, they were 6 for 19, shooting
yeah,
31%. I don't know what they're shooting on the year. Do you know what they're shooting on the year?
Michigan State's an okay 3-point shooting team. They're probably like close to like 34% from three, somewhere
Okay.
around that. So they're not an elite 3-point shooting team
30
by any.
35.0. Yep.
Yeah. So about what I think this team is.
Yeah, dead on. Yeah, so I just yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I can't believe a team with this many great players that played this well just got beat at home in a game that they wanted to win. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got to make you feel pretty good though, huh?
I was just gonna say, like, this was one of those games going into it where this was huge momentum for either team because I think this was a huge seeding game, especially for Michigan State. I think they're up to a 3 seed at this point, or they should be, right? I think Purdue will probably still be a 2 or 3, somewhere around there. Obviously, we don't know. There's still games left to play. There's still a Big Ten tournament, stuff like that. But I think this was a huge momentum thing for both of these teams because Michigan State throughout this season they had not gone into any place and won a true quote unquote road win. Their like best road win was at Rutgers, which Rutgers blew that game, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. And then at Penn State, right? Like Penn State is not anywhere that
Yeah.
is very difficult to play against. Obviously, they went to Washington. They won at Washington, but that was like a 50-50 home game. A lot of Michigan
Yeah,
State fans there.
Minnesota they didn't close it out. Wisconsin was a
Nope.
tough game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
big time for them to get a big one on the road.
And maybe one of the best, if not the best, home atmospheres in the Big Ten and in the country. Maybe not country, but I think one of the best in the country overall.
Well, it's an interesting talking point there because I've been listening to a bunch of sleepers media and they've been talking about this too, but I noticed it even before. Purdue has had some rough games at Mackey this year. They
A little bit.
they got blitzed by Iowa State early in the season. They almost lost to Oregon at home, the very worst team in the Big Ten, and they
Yeah.
got beat pretty handily by Michigan, and then lost a tight one to now Michigan State and Illinois. Um, but this is the first one where there was no like excuse of like, well, they shot 60% or Keaton Wagler went for 46 or
Yeah.
Iowa State couldn't miss and our defense was terrible. This was just like, oh wow, we played well, we got beat at home.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it truly is. And we've talked about kind of the stars, like the main guys for both of these teams, but I think really the biggest part of this win for Michigan State is the bench guys, is the role guys. Like Carson Cooper obviously deserves a ton of credit. Carson Cooper played really well. Jordan Scott played very well. Kohler had an okay game. Cohen Carr, that windmill dunk. I don't know your thoughts on that, but I never thought I would see a
I
windmill
can't
dunk
jump
in
that high.
Mackey. I can't jump that high. That reminded me of Brandon Dawson's back in the day. But
That
Cam
that was
Ward
Victor
and Teng
Oladipo.
was huge.
Yeah,
At
and Tang
least
had a
that.
couple threes where there was a hand in his face elevated and he boom straight over him, nothing but nylon, and I was, in shambles, but yes,
Yeah,
feels like those always go down. But I thought Tang played really well. 13 and 3, um, and an assist and a steal. Before for 8
yeah.
from the field from him. I don't know if they were all 3-pointers. They must not have been. Yeah, they must have been.
No, no, he shot 6 3 pointers.
Yep, 3 for 6 from three. So, yeah, but I thought he had a great game. And then I thought, we were just gonna let Cohen Carr miss all his threes, and he wasn't really gonna be able to impact us much. But when he got into transition, man, it was like Purdue's not that athletic, and Cohen Carr just had a field day with them, in
Yeah.
transition. I thought, which what are you gonna do?
He's the best dunker in the country. I think he might be even the best dunker, even if you put in the NBA at this point. Cohen Carr in transition. I know Locked On Spartan has said this several different times, but like the fact that like when he has a dunk, like obviously the 2 points go up on the board, but it feels like it's 6 or 8 points towards Michigan State every single time. Like you can't tell me that that windmill dunk didn't impact the rest of the game. Like you couldn't tell me that's momentum for Michigan State. Like that windmill dunk in a 2 possession game was just insane. And it's one of those things where like I watched a video of Miles Bridges when he was at Michigan State. It was like a 2 minute long dunking video, and I was watching it and I'm like those are okay dunks. Like I've seen better,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to get not tired of Cohen Card dunks because anytime you think he has tapped himself, it's like he dunks over a 7 foot Daniel Jacobson. Like why not?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up was that play in particular because 7-4. I've never seen someone 7-4 get posterized like that. Now Jacobson is kind of frail for a 7-4 guy, but still, I
Yeah,
that was one of those plays where I was like, holy cow, I cannot believe that just happened.
yeah. I would have loved to see Zach Eady and Cohen Carr try to go up for one. I don't know if it would go as well, but like in my opinion, if Cohen Carr is coming down the lane and he jumps, I don't think you jump with him, or you're going to be posterized for the most part.
100%, 100%. Yeah,
It's like a judgment decision. It's like, do you want to be put on a poster, or do you just get out of the way and just hope that he misses it?
yeah. I don't know which one I would rather do. I'd probably get out of the way because then I hopefully don't foul him at that point. I try not to
Yeah,
make it a 3-point dunk, but. Well, I got a
yeah.
question for you here. I think
Go ahead.
these are the two, I think they're the two best college basketball programs in the sense of the way that traditional college basketball programs have been run. I think you have, your Dukes
Correct.
and your Kansases that have a lot of one and dones. Um,
Yeah.
what is your favorite matchup in years past? What was your favorite Purdue Michigan State game, and where does this most recent game rank?
Good question. It's probably my favorite game is one that you're gonna remember. The Tyson
I
Walker,
thought so. I
um,
thought so.
3 to win it. That's probably been my most recent favorite matchup because if you're a Michigan State fan, right? There's not a ton of matchups recently that you can truly say. So outside of that, this is probably like two, probably. I think that game against Purdue in Breslin was incredible as well. And I think the only reason why that one is a little bit over this one is just because like a buzzer beater three to win it. Like I don't really think you can really tap that for the most part. But
Did
I
he
think
did
if
he
it
bank it
comes
in?
to no, he did not. It looked
Okay.
like it was going to be a possible bank, but yeah, I think overall, if you talk about like how good of a game this is compared to both teams, I think this has to be top three, probably top two in the last 5, 10 years for Michigan State, Purdue.
Yeah, I remember a game a couple years ago in Breslin. I was watching on my phone, but came down. It was like 55 all, and Purdue's Travion Williams got an offensive rebound and put it back up and won the game. And it just seems
Yeah.
like we could all list off two or three of those kind of games for each of our teams that, you know, goes one way or another. And I feel like this is a game that needs to be played twice a year, once in each
Oh yeah,
stadium, and
agreed.
hopefully a third time in the tournament.
Exactly. And I think both of these teams are going to do really well in the tournament. Obviously, 3 games left to go for the most part for both of these teams. Big Ten tournament as well. We can talk about March Madness once the time comes. But both of these teams are going to be in March. They're both going to be probably pretty good seeds and hopefully try to end the streak of Big Ten not winning a national championship. But we'll
Yeah,
obviously see
so
once that time comes.
are we okay with would we rather have Michigan win the national championship or the someone else? Obviously, if the Big Ten team that wins a national championship is Michigan, would we rather have it be somebody else or Michigan?
Personally, I would like someone else, but
That's kind of where I'm at too, especially
personally,
with
I
this
like someone
Michigan
else,
squad
but
this year. It'd be good to
hey,
see the
good
Big
for
Ten
the
get
Big
one,
Ten.
but exactly,
I
exactly.
wouldn't be thinking that at the time, but good for the Big Ten. I think both of these teams are going to do really well. Any last thoughts on this game that you want to mention? Any facts, any stats, anything else?
I just don't want to see you guys in March. I'm glad that was still February. So
See, it's one of those games where, like, as someone that has no play in the game, like that's a game you'd want to see in Elite Eight, Final Four. But like as
hmm
someone that is a fan of one of these teams, it is one of the most miserable experiences unless you win. If you win, it's one of the best feelings in the world.
I would love to watch Michigan State dice up Kansas or Arizona like this in an
That would
Elite
be
Eight
great.
matchup. I think that would be a great game. Um, Trying to think of any other teams that I think an Iowa State Michigan State game would be really good as
Ooh,
well.
that would be fun. That would be fun. I think there's going to be a ton of success, and I'm obviously really excited for March Madness. Excited for this game as well. Great result for Michigan State. Great game overall. Obviously two of the best teams in the entire Big Ten. Michigan probably going to win the Big Ten overall. They only have to win one more game, but we'll talk about when that time gets here. But thanks again for joining, man. Really had a ton of fun. Good luck to Purdue the rest of this season. I'm sure Purdue will be completely fine. We'll see exactly how they look the next couple of games headed to March.
For sure, Zach. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And that is a wrap to this episode. If you like it, please feel to like, subscribe, comment as well. Good luck to Michigan State and Purdue towards the end of the season. March is almost here. We're almost here. Let's get going. Things are about to get fun. Thanks for tuning in and tune in to the next episode.